Kids don't like to stay there quiet as statues, just listening to what an adult wants to tell them. They need to talk as well, and to participate in the communication. Otherwise it becomes boring, and as I said, it's a torture, because they are being humiliated, criticized, and they don't have any opportunity to talk at all. But an example is, mathematics is difficult, but if you pay the price, you master it. You need to pay attention to the class and go to the tutorial center. You also need to separate a time every day to study. That is how I became a good student at your age. I studied hard and I never got a bad grade. I studied mathematics 1 or 2 hours every day. I never see you studying. It's no wonder you don't get good grades. If you study like I studied when I was your age, you will do well. So you see, this is a combination of everything. It's really terrible, because it's a torture for the child who is listening to this. So it's very important that we use, as I said, that we use both thought empathy and feeling empathy. That we try to find out what the child is feeling or the other person is feeling. That we mention the feelings in the communication, that we repeat what the other person said with other words without placing judgments, without giving advice, without giving the solution. And let the other person find his way, his path, or his own answers, and trust that the person is able to find his or her own answers. Now, I want to talk about another problem in communication, and it has to do with different opinions. And it's very interesting because everyone thinks differently. No one is the same, because people have different backgrounds, different families with different values. Even children raised in the same family have different values. People have different cultures, religions, knowledge. So people are so unique, and they have different opinions. And it's very interesting that sometimes we let our opinions be a problem in our relationships, because sometimes we become closed to the other person's point of view or world view or culture. We think that we are right in everything. We don't want to listen. There's a Bible text that says that in the multitude of counselors there is wisdom. That's interesting. That the more we listen to people, the more we listen to their opinion, the better we are to make our own decisions and to find our own truth. So I would say that the wise person is the one that allows himself or herself to be influenced by other people. They consider other people's opinion and point of view. But sometimes maybe that we are too conservative, we don't like change, we fear change. Sometimes we are very stuck in our ideas, maybe because our religion, or maybe because our ego, or we have an inferiority complex, and we feel that our pride is being threatened, our dignity is being threatened, and we want to stick to our ideas, and then we become closed-minded. We don't accept any kind of influence. And anytime that someone has a different opinion, we feel threatened. Our ego comes, and then we want to attack the other person. You want to point out that the other person is wrong. And it's very negative for communication. And many people have a need to be right. And we think that in being right is our pride, our importance. If I am right and you are wrong, I am winning. I'm superior, I'm better. But we don't want to feel like we are wrong. When someone has a different opinion and that person tells his or her opinion, we feel offended, we feel attacked. We feel like we are losing. We are being humiliated. But are we being humiliated? Can we be humiliated? Being wrong means that we are inferior? Can we be wrong and be worth, valuable, important? Being right is a question of being important, and being wrong means being inferior. This is what people sometimes think, that being important equals being right. But that's not the truth. I may be wrong. It doesn't mean that I am inferior. Maybe I said something wrong in what I'm saying, my speech. I might have some wrong ideas, and I always find out that I have wrong ideas. I always read some book, and then I realize a new truth, and this is when I grow, when I allow myself to be wrong. But sometimes we feel like we can't be wrong, because if we are wrong, we are losing and we are inferior. And this is why we compete with people. We have arguments with people. And we don't want to lose. And when we want to win, is that when we really lose? So it's interesting, because it's a paradox. The truth works in a paradoxical way. Because when you lose, this is when you win. When I read a book and I realize that I was wrong in something, I am winning, because now I am growing. When someone talks to me and I accept that person's influence, I am winning, because I am growing. And when I don't compete with the other person, when I don't have an argument with the other person, I also win the other person's love, the other person's respect. The other person feels loved, respect. And it's interesting that if I respect the other person's opinion, it's more likely that the other person is going to respect my opinion. But if I don't respect the other person's opinion, the other person doesn't feel respected. The other person feels attacked, humiliated. And he will want to attack me back, and he will attack my opinion, and he will not accept my opinion, and then I'm gonna lose. And this is what arguments are. Arguments are when people try to win, and when they try to win, they lose.